Today's video. Hey guys, what's going on? Dr. Frank here, founder of Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching Programs. And in today's brief video, I want to talk about my toxic relationship that I developed with weed or marijuana products, especially towards the end of my sobriety journey when it comes to those things. Here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, we help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you find today's video valuable. I want to preface my story like this, because this is going to be what I can most relate it to. Have you guys ever found yourself in a relationship with someone, and in the beginning of that relationship, it's new, it's fun, it's exciting? This could be a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever it is you're into, and it's the beginning of the relationship, you're doing things, it's a good time, and you bring this person around your friends and you're all having fun together. But then as the relationship unfolds over the course of the next few months, the next few years, the relationship takes a turn for the worst. It starts to become very toxic. And the worst part of a toxic relationship is, if you've ever been stuck in one, it's actually very hard to walk away from it. Like, you should, this person is bad news, your friends and your family have told you, but you can't walk away. Well, that's kind of the relationship that I eventually developed with weed. And then I think a lot of people who are trying to quit, I think that's something that they're kind of going through. So, a little bit about my story. I first started smoking weed when I was 23 years old. I did not smoke in high school. I never smoked when I was a teenager. And the first time I smoked, I was at my buddy's apartment. I remember we were on Elmwood here in Buffalo, New York, and it was one of the best nights ever. Like, we were passing a blunt around and we were just dying laughing. I probably had a few drinks in me too, to be honest, and I had an amazing time. I remember sleeping like a rock. I woke up feeling not hungover. I felt refreshed the next day. It was just a really, really good feeling. It was a really new, fun, and exciting experience for me. And that lasted for a little bit. My weekends went from staying at the bars till 4 in the morning, getting drunk and getting into all sorts of trouble, to staying in with my buddies, and we'd have friends over, we'd smoke, we'd play some video games, watch some TV, and it was really a nice thing. I'll be honest too. My performance in school actually went up at the time. I felt it was significantly improving my anxiety. I felt well rested after smoking. And I want to say as a disclaimer, I never was someone who would like smoke and then go do schoolwork, or smoke and like go to work or anything like that. I only smoked a little bit in the evenings. At first, it was just on weekends. But then as I got closer and deeper into that relationship, it's like you get a new girlfriend and you're staying at her house on the weekends, but now you're staying there Monday through Sunday. It was kind of like that. So over time, eventually it went from weekends to weeknights. And this is maybe where I should have started to pay a little bit closer attention. I couldn't really sleep unless I had smoked. If I was going away, going out of town with family, I'd be very concerned with how I was going to find weed and how I was going to get weed, because I knew I was going to have insomnia if I didn't smoke. And I should have seen this as maybe the start of a negative relationship that I was starting to develop with weed, because here was that dependence starting to creep in. And I was pretty much totally oblivious to that, or ignoring it, because everything else was so great. Less anxiety, doing better in school, having more fun with my friends, smoking than I was drinking, all that good stuff. And as time went on, and actually during that year, another good thing, there was a whole year where all I would do is smoke, and I never chewed tobacco at night anymore. I actually quit nicotine through the use of THC products for a long time, which I eventually relapsed on as soon as I stopped smoking weed. So, and my journey is long and complicated. It wasn't that simple. Anyways, so then it kind of became like, now I was getting home and I had to smoke. Like, when I would get off of work, when I would get off of school, I had to smoke. Now it wasn't I'm having fun with friends anymore. It was, I'm going home, I'm sitting in my room, I'm getting high, and I'm watching TV. I'm not working on my schoolwork, I'm not working on my job, I'm not working on my real relationships. Now I'm starting to become kind of obsessed with my relationship with weed. And again, never was a full-time smoker during the day or anything like that. And this is where I should have seen things taking a negative turn, but I really didn't. And all around me, financially, I was running into trouble. I was starting to develop some weird health complications. I was starting to get some panic attacks and anxiety like I had never had before. The depression was getting worse. My weight was definitely changing. I actually at first gained a lot of weight, and then towards the end of my smoking career, I was losing a lot of weight, very unhealthy weight. Um, it was really starting to impact me in a negative way. If you think about that toxic relationship that I described in the beginning, a toxic relationship, it takes your time, it takes your energy, it takes your drive, it takes your motivation, it takes your focus, right? You become obsessed with that person that you're in that toxic relationship with. And I was truly becoming obsessed with weed and the relationship that I was in with it. And when I would try and walk away, I couldn't. And I almost felt like it was a form of gaslighting when I was trying to quit Mary Jane. Like I felt like addiction was gaslighting me because I would be thinking one thing and I was pretty confident that this was no longer good for me. But that addictive voice in media and friends and other people would constantly be like, no, it's fine, it's good. No, that's not from the weed. You should smoke more weed if you're having anxiety. You should smoke more weed if you're having health problems, blah, blah, blah. And I really kind of started to fall for that. Like, in a sense, I say this like addiction gaslights a person. And I really felt that to be certainly true when it came to my addiction to marijuana. The relationship took a really bad turn when the black market products hit New York. So we're talking about dank vapes, we're talking about Mario Karts, cereal carts, and all those things. And being from New York, I didn't know. Like, I honestly didn't know. I had a plug. He said these were good products. I looked at the packaging. Yeah, it looked sketchy, but I didn't really think much of it. And I got really hooked on those. And this is where it went from, like, I'd almost argue a toxic relationship to a borderline abusive relationship. Because at this point now, my mental health is in the gutter, my finances are in trouble, my physical health is rapidly declining at this point in my journey. Hello guys, how are you? Good, thank you. And it was just really a terribly uncomfortable situation that I was experiencing. And no matter what I did, I couldn't walk away. I couldn't escape this portion of my journey. I don't know if this is where you're at. I don't know. But I think if it is, and this relates to you, you need to realize that this relationship that was once healthy, fun, something that was new and exciting, is no longer that. You're at a different point now, and that's okay. It's hard for people that leave a toxic relationship. To an outsider looking in, it's obvious. You got to get away from him. You got to get away from her. They're no good for you. They're not building you up. They're tearing you down. And you might be at that point in your relationship with weed, and you might have to step away for a while, or at the very least, take a little break from one another. That will help you decide if you want to go back. Assess life without this relationship and see if you enjoy it less or you enjoy it more. But like any relationship, like any breakup, give it time, because remember, in the beginning, in the first few weeks, the first few months, it might not feel so good. You might be frustrated, you might be having an issue. But give it 3 months. Give yourself a solid 3 months away from this relationship. Reassess things, and then make a judgment call from there. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it sheds some light on some things, or gives you guys a different perspective on THC addiction and all the things that it entails. Follow me into the next video, guys, where I talk about some surefire ways you can quit vaping, quit smoking, some ways to make that an easier process for you, okay? I'll see you there. Welcome to the Addiction Mindset Recovery.